You're listening to SM Media, the #1 place for exclusive content.
Hi everyone and welcome to this week's episode of the Scottish Football Show right here on SM Media. I'm Scott McPike, your host as always, delighted to be here again. We're missing Wilson this week, but looking like we're going to miss Wilson for the next few shows, so we'll just send our best wishes to him. Shankers is here with me as always though. Shankers, how are we doing?
Aye, good mate, good.
Pleasure. And we've got two very special guests. We'll start off with former Rangers, former Plymouth, former Hibs, former St Mirren man, Gregg Wylde. It's an absolute pleasure to be on, Greg. Thanks for joining us.
No problem, mate. That's fine.
Perfect. And also we've got the former Morton, St Johnstone, and now he's back at Morton, Chris Millar. Chris, thanks very much for joining us.
Good morning, Scott. Cheers for having us on.
Thank you for having you. We'll make a wee start. We'll just talk about what's been happening over the past few days. I'm keen to get both Chris and Greg's thoughts on this. The Scottish Championship, we're hearing today that the 10 teams have made a decision that they want to keep playing. Chris, obviously you're at Morton just now. What's the kind of overall understanding you've got with the situation there?
Oh, we just heard like everybody else Friday. Obviously came out and I think for me personally, like I want to finish the season. I think players are, that are probably low risk in terms of where they're at with their health and whatever else, and if they pick up COVID. And in terms of, I think football it's a great release for everybody, the players, the fans as well. It gives them something to look forward to during the week when we're all locked in. So for me, it was I wanted to finish the season and continue playing, and I'm glad that's the decision that's been made.
Greg, obviously you're at Stirling as well. Like, obviously the league's been suspended for 3 weeks. Where are you kind of at?
We had a meeting actually this morning on a Zoom call. The clubs in the Lowland League and the managers had a meeting on Thursday, and what they're concerned about is that obviously we don't go back until 3 weeks' time. So it's the 31st of January. But the clubs are saying that you can't ask players to go back, train like a Tuesday, Thursday, and then get into a game on Saturday. You need maybe a 2-3 week period where we need to train and get games before we even go back and continue the league. So, but I think what the manager's been told is we don't go back till 3 weeks and the games will continue, but the league might extend till the end of May now, because obviously we've got midweek games and we've still got to play teams back to back, and we've still not even played Celtic Hearts yet as well. So I think the league's getting continued to the end of May, but the talks are we don't go back to 3 weeks, and I think the season will start in the middle of February now.
Right, okay. And Shankers, can I bring you in this as well? We had a conversation during the week about the possibility of the league being null and void. But do we still think that's not going to happen?
Well, the SPL, I kind of see it. I think at worst they would do similar to what they done last year. At worst, but I think they'll try and get it played. As we said, we spoke about sponsorship money and things, TV money and things like that. Again, they would maybe have to give some back or whatever. So I think there's too many complications. I think they'll try and play it out. The only worry is that say they did the 3 week break or whatever, like what the lower leagues have done. Then the Euros is in the summer, so they can't really extend the season too much. But I think they'll play it out as normal.
Chris, have you heard anything about the possible what happens if the league can't continue? Like what the possibility is?
No, there's no. The further conversation that I've had is that there was a club that raised an issue about finishing the season, and it was going to a vote, and that vote's been taken, and that's as far as it goes. We just continue on. So back in training Monday and preparing for the game at the weekend.
Yeah, definitely. We'll move on to the results over the weekend in the Premiership. We'll start off with Celtic 0, Livingston 0. Livingston again continue this great unbeaten run, but the story obviously after it's been the situation at Celtic. Chris, where do you see Celtic going for you? Obviously another poor result. Do you think that is the league over, and where do they stand after that result yesterday?
I think it was I think it's just put a nail in the coffin. I think the league's over. I think Rangers will stop the 10 in a row. So, I think for all Celtic fans, it's massively disappointing. I think it meant a lot to, obviously, a lot of the Celtic fans have got pals that are Celtic fans, and they're hurting just now with the way it's kind of went this season. Throwing obviously the Dubai debacle just then, and it's a PR disaster, and it's just kind of, Liverpool were in good form as well. They've been flying under Dave Martindale, so it was always going to be a difficult task, especially with the amount of players that Celtic get missing. So, it's is Neil Lennon going to be the manager to the end of the season? I think that's a big question. I think there'll be changes come the summer, just with the kind of rumours that are going about. But I think Rangers will lift the title, and it's not also up to the powers in charge, Dermot Desmond and Peter Law, whatever, that to kind of sort it. It's not been very good just now at Celtic.
Yeah, Greg, Rangers are flying at the top of the league. A 1-1 draw today against Motherwell. I just wanted to get your thoughts on as well. Obviously, your old teammate Stephen Davis, 300th appearance today. You obviously played with him when you were at Ibrox. How good was he to play alongside? What was he like in the training ground? Just a brilliant player. It's
just an all-round good professional. You can see what he brings to the squad, and obviously to Rangers. He's one of the best players I've played with in my career. There's no doubt about that. And to his age, he's still playing at the moment. It's incredible. He's a credit to himself and his family, obviously. So, but for Rangers to go win the league this year, I think what Chris said is he's spot on. I think it's done. Obviously, Rangers dropped points today, but they didn't get a point for part, and I think the league's done. If you ask me, it was done after the Celtic game at Ibrox, where Rangers didn't really play well. It's probably the worst they've played all season. It's the best Celtic have played all season as well.
Yeah.
But still come away with 3 points. And then, I've, like Chris says, I think Rangers have won the league already.
Shankers, obviously we watched the Rangers game today. Like it was a 1-1 draw, but Motherwell were quite impressive the way they kind of set out. And I thought Rangers were quite slow and flat, but Motherwell did pick up. They've certainly been better than they were in previous games. Like, what was your kind of takeaways for the game today, Shankers?
I think Rangers started slow the last few games, and you kind of no seen it coming, but you could tell that somebody was going to take points off them, and in the near future, I think they were playing, they were winning games, but not playing well, and but it was hard to see just the way Motherwell set up in that. It was once they get something to hold on to, and they've got men behind the ball, it's so tough to break down. And I could only see Rangers goal coming for a wide position or a set piece, just because it was hard to thread the ball through or break them down. So I could only see a goal coming for the wide area. I suppose when you put 40 bad crosses in, one of them's going to go in the money. I suppose Tav and Barisic didn't really put many good balls in, but 1 out of 40 is all right. But I think they'll take a point and move on. It's not as if they lost any ground. The Celtic didn't gain any points on them, so I think they'll just take that and move on and try and forget about it.
Yeah, definitely. Greg, your old team Aberdeen had a bit of a bad result yesterday. Ross County went obviously at 4-1 defeat for Aberdeen away to Ross County. Do you see a bit of issues developing at Aberdeen with 3 games without a win, and kind of talk they're going a bit stale? Do you kind of go along with that? I bet you kind of been thinking about it.
2 seconds, let me get this dog away. 2 seconds. Aye, 3 games at bounds. I think you've got to realise how good Derek's done at Aberdeen. 4 years he's been there. He's done well, and his recruitment has done well as well. He's lost players and brought players in to replace them. But to touch on what he said yesterday, it was a bit of a heavy defeat against a team who's fighting at the bottom of the table. We have changed our manager, and he's got a response from his players to go and beat Aberdeen 4-1. I think Big Yogi's picked up 4 points in the last 3 games since he's been in charge. So it's a good start for him and a good run for Ross County. But on the flip side, Aberdeen have got to come out this stronger. It's not all the time you see Aberdeen going on a run of 3 defeats. So it'll be interesting to see what happens midweek.
Yeah, definitely. Chris, your old team St Johnstone got a big win as well yesterday. A 1-1 at home to St Mirren. What did you kind of think of St Johnstone yesterday? Were you impressed with the result?
I think they've been playing really well. I've done a few commentary games for them on this at Just TV, and they've got a good squad of players there, good young squad, and obviously played with Callum and worked when he was assistant to Tommy, right? I know Maka really well, and he's got them playing good football, good tempo, the high press, and it was the same when I saw them. It was like that final third was just missing a wee bit. We're creating so many chances and not taking them. So I think that they'll be fine, but it was obviously a big win. They needed to get a win. They were, not far off the bottom position over the last couple of weeks. Chris Kane's found a wee bit of form as well, picking up a couple of goals, which is good. Kane works so hard sometimes. Does a lot of work outside the box, so it's good to see him getting on the score sheet. But no, I did think that they would bounce back and the results will pick up, and hopefully that continues.
Yeah, definitely. We'll just touch on another two results. Hibs were 1-2 now against Kilmarnock, and Hamilton and United shared the points at a 0-0 draw. Shankers, what was your kind of overall performance and play of the weekend?
I liked Gogic. I liked him when he was at Hamilton. I'm not surprised he moved to a better club. He scored a screamer yesterday against Kilmarnock. And I also said I think Hibs will beat Aberdeen to third place. I'm going to stick my neck in the line and say that. I know they're there now, but Hibs have got Aberdeen's got a couple of games in hand. But I think Hibs have got a good squad. I think they could sneak third place. Yeah,
definitely. We'll move on to our special guest. We've obviously got Gregg and Chris joining us. It's an absolute pleasure to be both on. We'll start off with you, Chris, talking about your youth days at Celtic. What was your kind of favourite experiences there, and are you getting good stories are coming through?
No, it was obviously great. It's well to tell you. You're well looked after. If you're at the old firm, and everything was really good. Obviously the facilities, the coaching. It was brilliant for me. I really enjoyed it. Spent three years there. And still keep in contact with a lot of boys, like Sean Maloney, he was coming through at that time, Big Kendo. So it was a good squad. And at that time, it was like Celtic were just been into. When I left, they just got to Seville, obviously UEFA Cup final. So it was a difficult squad to break into. It was great, but when I left, it was time to go. I'd signed a new deal and I was training every week, going on a Saturday or Sunday, Monday, but reserves. I wasn't even getting in the squad. There was 10 players coming in. So for me, it was. I had a year and a half left, and they offered to pay me up. I was like, I need to go, because if I didn't, then I probably wouldn't have the career that I went on to have. And it was a tough decision, but everybody wants to play for Celtic or Rangers, and and I was no different. But I wanted to go and have a career, and it was probably the best decision for me to go at the time that I did.
Yeah, definitely. Gregg, you started out at Rangers as well. What was your kind of memories of being there? And it was obviously we're there with Walton and Ali. How good was the stories for them?
Yeah, it was good. I actually started my youth career at Celtic, didn't I? With Tommy Burns. And there was a bit of a swap deal with a player at Rangers. It was called Sean Fitzharris at the time. So he went to Celtic and I went to Rangers, and then I came through the youth system at Rangers. Loved every minute of it. You do miss the times when you're a youth player, because you used to go to all different tournaments when obviously in the summer and stuff. So, but to break through the youth system into the first team is something that I'll always never forget. So, I'm pleased what I've done in my career, and to come through the ranks at one of the clubs I support as well. So, it's been good.
Who were the good players coming through when you were there at Rangers?
Well, I had a good youth team. I was in the same youth team as you had Flecky at the time. You had Danny Wilson, Kel Naismith, Mark Weir, who's at Bonnie Rigdosa at the moment. There's a lot of good players at the time that we had, and we actually won back-to-back league titles under 18s at the time, and we got to the Youth Cup final where we could beat off Celtic and we could beat off Hibs. And then after that, we went into reserve football, where Ian Durant was in charge at the time, and we obviously still threw that into the first team. It was good.
Brilliant. Chris, see when you broke through at Morton as well, you came through the kind of team there for 5 years, but we've got a question here for an old teammate of yours, Scotty McLaughlin. His midge ever took a second. His midge ever took a second prize in training. What's that?
Scotty, brilliant. No, like, so I can be a wee bit nippy at times in training and that, and I've always been a bit of, like, just because you put demands on yourself and those run about you, and sometimes you know in training it can get a wee bit heated. So a couple of times, like a few times, if you meet the challenges and that, there was one time Dean Keenan, he's been right through the backers. And I've picked the ball up, right, and I raged. I picked it up and I smashed it, volleyed it, and it smacked him right in the face. And I was like, oh, for God's sake, man! Like, I usually would have missed him, but it catches him right in the dish, and then it swinging that is in that. And I had a few running with Scotty one day in training as well, so they ended up calling me punch bag.
Brilliant.
Is the ball right after hitting his face?
Brilliant. What was your kind of memories at Morton as well? Obviously, we were 5 years before you went to St Johnstone, but who was the kind of, obviously Scotty was there as well, but who was the kind of good characters in the dressing room, and what was the best stories?
Do you know what I mean? It was great. It was a great time, 5 years there, and went straight in and played. You know, I think I played 144 games in a bounce. So for me, it was brilliant. Like to kickstart my career. One of the big memories was the Peterhead game when we won third division. There was like 8,000 people packed into Capel that day. Do you know what I mean? So to go and play football and it meant something, and then obviously we won the league that day as well, winning 1-0. Scotty Barnum scored the goal. It was different class, but so many characters. Big Peter Ederson, brilliant guy. Wee Midge Gardine was there as well. He was an absolute, him and Dean Keenan together were absolutely nuts, man. Sometimes you'd come into training up at Quarters Village, you two of them are standing playing naked golf and that. It was crazy, man. And what we used to do 4-minute runs, right? And doing it at Quarters Village, so it's a big open green. And one of the days, we're not doing a run, it was like a tree you run round past, a big bush, and you would run past, and Dean Keenan sitting there doing a shite. So you were supposed to do these 4 minutes. I was like, what the hell's going on? So he was an absolute loose cannon, great lad, you know, man. Honestly, so funny. Him and Midge Gardine were mental together, but they two are definitely characters coming through there when I was there 5 years.
Brilliant. Greg, you finally get your start in the first team in the season. The last season Rangers won the league was 2010-11. See, when you came into that team, like how good was it to be in the team with likes of Naismith, Davis, Yelowitz? Just what was the kind of memories for that season?
Just to train about with the squad for the first time. When I got called up, well, it was Ian Durant told me it was one Monday morning to say you could have train with the first team. So I was round, just come back round, train with the youth team, come back round, train with the first team, just to make up numbers. And then at one point I was going down there every day. Then you know the squad that it was there because obviously it was a big squad and it was a strong squad at the time. In New York yourself, it's going to be hard to get into the first team squad or even try to get appearance, come off the bench, or even getting into the squad in match stage. So to come in and train with the first team day in, day out was brilliant. And then I got a sniff and I think it was a League Cup against Kilmarnock and the Little scored at Rugby Park.
And
then I came back out the team, and after that it was just training. Then suddenly I was in the European squads, and then I made my debut against PSV Eindhoven away from home. Then played PSV on the Thursday, and then we played Celtic on the Sunday. And then since then, I played, I think it was 43 or 44 league games in a row to the end of the season, and won it. And then in the last game was away to Kilmarnock to win the league. See,
just when you touch on that day at Rugby Park, nobody ever mentions how good your pass was for the second goal.
No, I can always remember it because I was actually I was going towards it, and then I put the ball in, and then when we scored, I turned round. I just seen my dad, and my dad's pal were there. But he said because my dad said he wasn't going to come because he felt nervous. But obviously he turned up without telling me, and I turned around. I just see my dad celebrating, jumping over people's seats, and it was just chaos at the time. But it was good. That was the day flew in, if you ask me, because I think we were 4-0 up or 3-0 up in 20 minutes. Before, I think we were 2-0 up even before Celtic kicked off as well against Motherwell at Parkhead.
That's right. I remember it was 3-0 after 7 minutes. Shankers, were you there that day?
No, I think I had a game on the Sunday with Ayr when I was when I was younger. I don't even care. How long ago was that? 10 years? I was only 14 or something. Just a pup.
And see, after that, Greg, obviously, when that was the last time he's won the league, but did you get offered a new contract at the end of that season?
No, I signed my new deal 2 weeks before that.
Right.
I had a year left in my contract, and then they offered me another 3 years on top, but I wanted to sign 4, so basically 5 years I wanted to sign at Rangers, and I got my 5 years. I signed it, but I kept it quiet till end of the season after the Kilmarnock game.
Yeah.
And then told it I signed. But then the season, obviously, after that, like, yes, it went fucking tits up, didn't it?
When did you?
It's the best way to describe it.
When did you see in the dressing room? When did you first get the feeling that things were going, as you say, quite bad?
What do you mean?
Like
in terms of how did we know that it was coming?
Aye, when did you first get the feeling that it was coming?
I can actually tell you the story. We actually, Alan McCoy actually organised a game on the Tuesday morning against Hibs through at Trinent for boys that have not played a lot of football. This is the year after we won the league.
Yeah.
But we had weeks building up to that. We knew that something was going on behind the scenes. We thought it was all just rumours at the time. Then, like I said, we had a bounce game against Hibs through in Trinent. But then the night before, David Weir asked the boys to come in a wee bit earlier than normal because we had a meeting. And then the owners came in, the administrators came in and says this might happen, blah, 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 blah. So we're on our way through to Hibs, play the game. Then after the game, Hibs put a lunch on for us at the training ground. So when we walked in after we had showered to go get something to eat, but Hibs put on for us, looked up on the TV, Sky Sports News, Rangers United administration. But that came on the screens while we were playing the game. So none of us knew what was happening. But we knew that something might have happened in a couple of weeks, maybe down the line, but we didn't know it was going to be in that day. We had a meeting in the morning before we left to go to the game.
See, as well as that, just this is me. That's not my sheet. I've just got this question. You can answer yes or no if you want. Did you ever have any dealings with Mr. White? Nah,
I left that to Grigsby, and he was fucking mental. He was I couldn't believe that. Joe, he was slaughtering them in the change room. I mean, like, right, you know what Griggs is like, Chris? Yeah, he's just fucking mental. I don't know if he was been drinking or what. But he was just fucking. He was absolutely slaughtering them. I've never seen anything like it. How hostile it was, how bad it was. And I'm a wee boy at the time, sitting back, like, oh fuck, this is so awkward as fuck.
And then obviously you decide to leave. What happened there? Like, why? I remember being at school and hearing that you'd left, but we all thought you'd been released. What was the actual story?
I don't know what month it was. January, that Bolton came in at the time and wanted to sign me.
Yeah, that's right. Did they not get a bid rejected? Am I right in saying that?
Aye, but then they came back in again. But I told the management I wanted to stay.
Right.
So obviously things happened to another, and then we went into administration. I heard that obviously the canteen staff were getting made redundant. I was like, fucking hell. But I was quite close to one of the catering staff at the club at the time. I thought, you know, if I get some of my wages for them, then I might help the club.
Yeah.
But the administrator said that wasn't going to happen. You would need to leave or take the percentage to the cut. There was 3 percentages. It was 80%, 50%, and 25%. And the first team ones were at 80 at the time. I'm mad. You know what I mean? I didn't know what to do. So I just thought, get out my contract that I signed, help the staff at Exterior at the time. Some people might think it was talking shite at the time, but that's what happened. Then a couple of weeks later, I signed for Bolton. People thought it was just a set-up at the time, but it wasn't. I just had Bolton on the phone 24 hours trying to get me down to sign. And the time I left, it was difficult at the time because, you know, the media just wanted to jump on you. It was like a tea to set off for you.
Mm-hmm. Do you remember like what was the atmosphere like when you left? Like, what were your teammates saying to you when it all went down?
I didn't see them at the time because we had a couple of days off, and I think players had meetings after meetings, individually come in certain times, and when one was getting, we were leaving, so we didn't really see each other at the time. But I still speak to some of the boys this day, so there's no hard feelings with like the players that I played with. And after I left, there's quite a lot of boys left at the time as well.
Yeah, definitely. Chris, see, obviously your 10 years at St Johnstone. Obviously, your highlight would be the Scottish Cup win, but how good was that 10 years for you? And obviously describe what the Scottish Cup win was like for you.
Oh, brilliant! I mean, probably best time of my career anyway. You go to a club. When I signed, I didn't expect to be there that long. To be honest with you, like every player, you're ambitious. You know what I mean. And I felt that I'd go to St Johnstone, hopefully do well, maybe make another move. But it turned out I didn't need, because by the time we established ourselves, even after our first season, we kind of established ourselves as a top six side. Brilliant dressing room, great boys, and with great continuity. The spine of the team didn't change a lot. Stephen Anderson, Big Fraz, Dave Mackay, Murray Davison, myself, Big Eastie came in as well. He was a kind of regular. Mark up top, Stevie Maid. So it was like kind of you get added to every kind of year, but the general continuity was always there. And that was the same with managers. When I went there, Derek McKinnon signed us, and it was Steve Lomas and Tommy who obviously took over. But brilliant time, great club, brilliant memories. Obviously Scottish Cup win, everybody talks about. It's
I was there, Chris.
You were there, mate. Were you watching it?
I was because Mikey he got me a ticket, so I went with his brother. He's an oddball, isn't he, Michael, man? Weird guy.
Mikey Hart, of course, is another one. But it was a brilliant day, obviously at Celtic Park. So for me, it was like kind of my career coming full circle again. I'd started at Celtic, and one of the biggest games was the Scottish Cup final at Celtic Park, and it was against Dundee United, and they had a good side.
Yeah.
They had a good side. Andy Robertson was there. Big Shifty up top. Armstrong, Mackay, Stevens. So they were favourites, but we did the number all year. Like we took 4 off from that year, and we had to lost to them. Jackie McNamara and Simon Donnelly was the manager. Tommy just had them on toast, man. Even the build up to the game, he was like playing me mind games with them, naming their team, saying they wouldn't play me goal day and that, and he was biting. He was so biting all the time. And so we knew going into the game that we would. I felt we would win it. So the semi-final for us against Aberdeen was probably a bigger game for us, because I'd played in some 7 semi-finals and lost most of them, all of them up to that point, obviously. And we'd get put out the League Cup semi against Aberdeen that season as well. Up at Tynecastle, they took 4 off us. So we're 1-0 down at half time, and I think we talked about Stephen McLean gave out about I can't remember exactly what he says, but it was basically like, we don't want to do this again. Like, come on, we've been here too many times. Yeah. And obviously Mazo popped up with 2 brilliant goals. So for us at Ibrox that day, that was a big game for us, and we always felt going to the final we'd win it, and so it turned out 2-0, and we deserved it. Do you know what I mean? We were a better team on the day, and just to get hands on that trophy and everything after it was just different class. And I think the biggest thing for me was what it meant to other people. I think it was the first major trophy in St Johnstone's history. So that team will be doing as legends and up in Perth, and for 3 days, man, I didn't even get changed. I think I woke up mixed it every day. Kicked on a 4th day when I come back to the road for Perth. So the celebrations were good.
Was that the year Dundee United beat Rangers in the semi-final?
Mm-hmm. That's right.
Because see, in that game, I think if I remember, all the talk was out there because they had like Gold and Robertson and that good players. They can almost dismiss you, which was probably better for you going into that final, that nobody was really talking about you.
Definitely, and that's the way it was. It was always the case that we were always like, what you would tell, like, horrible to play against, people hated, but we could play off the back of it as well. Do you know what I mean? You've got to be able to do it off all sides of the game, and I think that's what we were good at. We were well organised. We'd all played together. We had great experience throughout the team. We had match winners as well. Do you know what I mean? The likes of like Mikey, Stevie May, these kind of players. You know what I mean? David Weatherspoon. So these guys have all played Premier League all their days. Good players, good players. So for us, we knew that we maybe not in other people's eyes, but we always felt we were a good side, and we could take points off anybody if we turned up and played.
Yeah, definitely. Greg, see, obviously after you left Rangers, you went to Bolton and you kind of spell at Aberdeen, St Mirren, Plymouth as well. Like, was it? How did you kind of feel after you left Rangers? Was there any of these spells you kind of really enjoyed?
The best spell I actually enjoyed was at Plymouth. I was there for 2 years. But first, when I spoke to the manager, Derek Adams, at the time, I know I heard a few stories about him. And I was like, "Fuck it, like, see how it is." And then he phoned me, and then he wanted to meet me up the fort. So I went and met him, spoke to him, and then afterwards, I didn't know where the Plymouth was at the time, so I looked it up on Google Maps. I was like, "Oh, for fuck's sake!"
Ends it there.
I was like, "You're nearly in France, man." You know what I mean? So, but he said, "No, I signed the week after I spoke to him. I thought I'd give it a go. It's probably the best teams that I've had. The first year I played there we got to Wembley. Played there, get beat in the final. Big Akinfenwa just scores 2. In fact, no, he scored a penalty and then Lyle Taylor scored. But building up to that, we played Portsmouth in the playoff games. It was unbelievable. So that's probably my best spells at Plymouth.
Brilliant. Chris, you went back to Morton a couple of years ago and you've been there ever since. Like, how good's that spell been for your career? And then I'll touch on obviously what the plans are for the future. But how good's your time been at Morton since you went back?
No, I've enjoyed it. Do you know what I mean? Like when I left St Johnstone, like I felt I did feel I had another year in me. I felt I could have played at that level for another year, but Tommy had made his decision and that. And you don't always agree with the manager, but I got a testimonial on that and it was brilliant. So that was good. And then so the contract was up, and I actually spoke to Dundee United as well. Paul Sturrock phoned us. It's weird because we got up to a concert up at Lionel Richie, me and the missus, and we drove up and my phone goes and it's Paul Sturrock. And I was like, this is bizarre, man. I'm going up here and then he's out of the blue. And I had just spoke to Ray McKinnon as well, like the day previous. So I was going to sign there, and then obviously like Dundee United were interested. And I just think at that point in my career, I'd been away for 10 years, like travelling. My missus would just opened our own wee salon, hair salon and that. So we're putting things in place for the future. So Dundee United also a bigger club, and they had a good team in that as well. But I just felt that it was time to come home in the situation. So I spoke to Ray McKinnon and decided to sign. And we started off flying. It was brilliant. We were flying, good players at the club. And then 4 games in, he leaves. He just goes. We couldn't believe it. We're flying here. The place was buzzing. We just did the best training session the Friday, right? The chairman was up the place. We were doing like a box, right? And it was pure popping. Chairman leaves. And he's like, what a session that is. Boys are buzzing for the game. So I'm doing PT and I'm doing like my measurements with one of my clients, right? And he's a Morton fan. He's like, Ray McKinnon's left, by the way. I was like, no, he's not. I was like, we just had a presentation 10 minutes ago. He's like, no, mate, he's gone. And obviously it broke. They left. So it was a bit bizarre in that for us. But it's been great club, very passionate fans in that, and obviously being local, if you're not doing well, they sure let you know that's for sure. But it's great, and we're kind of in a transition every year. It's like there's a turn of players, but there's a great bunch of boys here just now, and I'm really enjoying it. Obviously, Hoppy moved on, and we've kind of been player-coach role. But I've really enjoyed that side of it as well, and it's something maybe I thought about. But now that I'm in helping doing that role, I've really enjoyed it. And the players have been brilliant. I'm still their teammate, but which it can be difficult sometimes because at the end of the day, like first day you've got to tell 3 players that are not even in the squad, and that's your mates in the dressing room. So it's difficult having that side. But the players have been different class. They've totally respected myself, Jim, Anton, and Brian, and they made it dead easy. And it's easier as well when obviously results have been good.
Yeah. Right, I'm going to ask you a question here, and it's going to be a 2-part question, and I would quite like you to answer it if that's okay. Firstly, have you thought about management? And secondly, when David Hopkin left, you were very, very high in a few Morton fans' wish list to get the job. Have you thought about management? And if the Morton job is still available, are you interested?
Well, first part, I didn't. It's one of the ones. It's like you want to stay within the game at some point, or within sport. Actually, I've always thought. So that's why I've done my personal training. I've done a degree in sports journalism. So that was always something in my head. I've done my Code B license. So, but it's all about opportunities, isn't it? And this one has come up, and I think I'd be daft to say no. I'm not interested in it. Of course I'm. Whether that be the manager or a coaching role, whoever's in charge, the powers that be will decide that. But I've really enjoyed the role that I've got just now, and the players have responded well. I think we're doing well. I think we're playing some decent football at times, maybe not on Friday night there, but there was factors for that as well. So it's definitely something I'd be interested in. It'd be the next step for me. I'm 38 in March. Still want to play as long as possible, but I know there's less days ahead of me.
Brilliant. Greg, obviously can I do this and then we'll bring Shankers in with the quick fire questions. You're now at East Stirling. Obviously you're still young. Do you feel as if you can play at a kind of higher level in the future again?
Well, to be quite honest, I'm actually enjoying it. It's been a long time I've enjoyed my football and put a smile back on my face again, playing week in, week out, and turn up to training every night. We train 3 nights a week, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. So sometimes people think, why are you training 3 nights a week? But that's the way the manager wants. But I'm loving it. It's something different. It's a good league. There's good players in the league as well. I was really surprised how good it is. It's good facilities. We train at Falkirk Stadium, and obviously that's your home games as well.
Yeah.
Like I said, there's some good teams in the league. Kelty Hearts, East Kilbride. This year, East Kilbride, I've spent a wee bit of money getting players in, like Pates and Chris Erskine. So no, I'm enjoying it. Would I go? If I had the opportunity, I would. If it was the right call, but you're saying I'm getting young. I'm 30 in March, so I don't know. If it's the right move for me, I would. But right now, I'm concentrating with East Stirling. We've still got a chance of getting up. We're 6 points off top of a game in hand, so I'm just concentrating playing there now. And when the season starts back up, when we don't know, but we're still in dialogue with the club and the management and the players on the phone. So, but no, I'm enjoying it, and that's the main thing about football. You just want to enjoy it.
Yeah. Did you look?
When you go to play Kelty, you can message me and I'll give you a few pointers. We studied them up at their bit for nothing. So
I seen that last year in the Scottish. We actually last Friday we were meant to play Bowness, and the Bowness game was we played against Spartans. So the league came back to us and asked us if we wanted to play a league game. So we were like, that's fine now. So the club asked Kelty Hearts if we want to play back to back the Friday, but we're due to play them the Tuesday as well. So the first game would be at our place. Fergus turned around and said, refused to play us on the Friday. Then on the Tuesday, the game got called off because it was bad weather. But the weather was fine. But I heard there was a few injuries at Kelty Hearts. And then Andy Rogers fucks off there, didn't he? Didn't even know about it as well.
Brilliant. Greg, see, just before we bring in Shankers with a quick fire question, did you see when you kind of had a few kind of spells at other clubs? Did you kind of follow a love of football a bit?
Yeah, I did at one point. I'm not going to lie. I did fail at football at one point because I just wanted to settle and be somewhere I enjoy. And I think right now I'm enjoying it because I'm playing. I've played like 16, 17 games already because we play a lot of games and cup games. So I've played every game and I'm playing in a position where I love playing that. Wing back with a 3-5-2 or a 4-4-2.
That wing back. That's like
as long as you've 3 centre halves that you fucking can cover, you're all right. But no, I'm enjoying it. That's what Shanks and Chris will tell you. You just want to play football and enjoy it. Waking up on Saturday morning with fit a game, it's still destroying, to be honest. If there's no game, I'll be training, but there's none of that. Just need to see what happens.
Yeah, definitely. Right, well, it's a quick fire questions time. Wilson usually does this, but Wilson's obviously not here, so Shankers is taking over for this week. Are you properly prepared for the questions you've got here?
Me and Alison were up all night doing these questions. Right. What do you want to do? You want to answer them at the same time, or we'll ask one and ask the other? Just answer them at the same time. That's easier.
Aye.
You're in
charge.
One. First one. That's what I get big bucks for, isn't it? Messi or Ronaldo?
Ronaldo.
Messi.
Left. You're a lefty, no, Greg? Man, I thought you were with Messi all day. Right. Would you rather win your league or win the Scottish Cup?
League.
Well, I've won a Scottish, so I'll say league.
League.
Right,
For me.
that's the next one. Would you rather, if you're playing your rivals, would you rather scud them 5-0 or score a last minute winner and you score it?
Last minute winner.
Last minute winner. Aye.
Did you play? Were you involved with that game when Edu scored the last minute winner against
Against
Celtic?
Celtic? Nah, I wasn't involved. Nah. But I'll go last minute winner.
That's the next one. Your best team night out, whereabouts?
Newcastle.
Dublin, Christmas days.
Dublin, aye. Chinese or Indian?
Chinese.
Chinese. Not bad. And the last one, I think I know what the answers are going to be for this, but your best career moment, career highlight?
Scottish Cup.
Aye.
Winning the Week Cup and playing all fun games.
Mm-hmm. That's us, I think. You get anything, Alison? I'll get done. Aye, that's us.
I've got one. And I'm going to throw this to both of you. So I'll ask, what's your favourite night out story?
Oh.
I don't know. It'd be a hard one to put the boys underneath the bus, man.
Was it incriminating them?
I've got one.
Is my missus upstairs?
Yours was in
Funny go, Chrissy.
St Johnstone. This was like, so we were playing in Switzerland against Lucerne, and so after, I think, was it a draw the first game, or did we win 1-0 over there? I think we won 1-0 over there. So we come back to the hotel and Tommy's like, right, you guys can have a wee drink tonight. Like, so we all sat there, right? So we're having a few beers sitting at their food and that after the game. Next, you know what happens? It starts getting carried away a wee bit. Next thing, Tommy orders like a round of vodka shots, right? So we're all like, right, then they shoot vodka shots. We're like, right, lads, we're sneaking it, right? We're going to go find a pub somewhere and we'll sneak it, right? So we're all going upstairs, right? So all the young boys are like, can we go? But like, no, look, the younger ones just need to go up. So all the experienced ones, myself, Macca, Fraser, right? Briggy staying that. So we sneak. So there's about 10 years, right? We sneak down the fire escape. And we go, well, right, where are we going to go? So there's a wee guy walking down a manhole. So we walk over to him and like, mate, where can we go? Like, he's like, there's a pub just in the corner here. I was like, look, we'll give you €40 if you take us, right? He's like, I ain't bother, right? So we jump in the back of this white van, right? So in the back of this white van, we're singing songs, pure buzzing, man. Drive to this place, and it's just full of St Johnstone fans, right? It's St Johnstone fans everywhere. And we're like, oh, for God's sake, we're going to get caught here no matter what. So we're like, fuck it, let's go, right? So we jumped in the back of the van, man, and it was one of the best nights we've ever had. We were chanting the fans. The chairman and that was there as well, so we could definitely get caught. But the gaffer and that wasn't there, right? So after it, we go back to the hotel, and we're all up in one of the rooms, and we've got me and Tam Scobie, right? We're taking his gear off, slapping him with flip-flops and all that, just total riots. So go to bed, wake up, bang, 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 pounding in the door. I've slept in, right? It's Paul Smith, who's like kind of CEO guy, and he's like, look, you need to get downstairs, that Tommy's down there. He's raging, man, he knows he's involved in it. Get downstairs. So we all get in, I'm like, but I was like, nobody's saying, nobody's like, right? Tommy's going there, he's like, it's a disgrace. I want to know who was it and who wasn't. He's all going to get fined if you don't tell me. I'm like, don't say a word, tell the boys and that, right? So we leave to go to the airport. First to crack, big Brian Easton, Tommy's boy, goes up and says, I was it. So by the time we all went and told him the story. So it was a brilliant story, brilliant night out, but we all get done, I think it was £100 fine, everybody, but me and Tam Scobie got done 200 because we slept in. So that was a really good night. But Tommy loved it, to be fair, he was really good. He's like, look, I love the fact that you've done that and you've owned it, and it just showed the kind of camaraderie we had. And we went through, we beat them we drew it home in the home leg anyway, so we went through, so it was all good.
Did you know find that boy for shitting it in Grass McPhail? He should have been fined for the flares.
No, he was alright. Got away with it.
Brilliant. Greg, what's yours?
We were playing. I think it was at Bradford away or Doncaster, one of them at Plymouth, and we thought we'll go to Newcastle for 3 nights. But we had obviously the manager wanted us back in on the Monday, but we found out that the manager wasn't going to come back on Monday. He went back up the road after the game as well. So we booked our flights from Newcastle to Exeter. So out Saturday, out Sunday, and then we were on the Sunday, the fancy dress day. We were at Stephen. We all said, "Teacher, why don't we just don't go into training on Monday if the gaffer's not going to be there?" So one of the boys let on it, obviously, Derek Adams was staying up the road. He went back up, and he wouldn't have been in Monday. So we're like, might as well. The assistant manager was all right. He was good at the time, so we thought, be all right. So we changed our flights to the Tuesday. So we went out Saturday, Sunday, Monday. And we never went back. They wanted us back on the Monday, but we never went. We just patched it. So we stayed in Newcastle for an extra night. So we flew back on the Tuesday. I think the flight was in the morning or the afternoon. But a couple of the boys missed their flights, didn't they? So we went back on the Tuesday, and Wednesday we walked, because the manager loves training on Wednesday. He usually a day off, but we walked in on Wednesday. The manager's like, he doesn't swear, didn't he? He's like, where the flipping were you? Blah, blah, blah. So I'm along the lines. But so the assistant manager says, by the way, the gaffer was in on Monday. He had the training and all that set up. And he was standing in the training park waiting for you on. There's nobody there. So he obviously changed his mind and went back to Plymouth. He never went back up the road, and then the Monday he set up in the training park, all the mannequins on it, and just 10 to start, and no getting his like, where the fuck's every cunt? He's standing there. Oh, what brilliant, man. So we all get fined. It was about £100 each or something like that. That was funny as fuck.
Shankers, that goes to you as well. What's yours?
I can't really remember, to be honest. I just block out after nights out, to be honest. Gets that stage where you can't get any drunker and then you just forget the rest. Can't really remember, to be totally honest. Newcastle was my kind of first. I was only 18 with Air. That was the kind of first night out, and Scotty and that was it. Scotty McLaughlin was at Air, man. They would like order raw vodka and that and be going, you will only drink that. So you're a young one and go, I will. Scotty was drinking Sol beer, and every time he went up, you'd ask for a Sol and he'd put a lime in it. So eventually he would walk up to the barman and go, 2 Sols and chuck the limes to fuck. See him and Moth, they were mental that night. See, after every drink, they would just chuck the glass after one, smash it. This was like, as soon as we got there, it was about 7, 8 o'clock. There's couples sitting in the pub. It was quite a nice bar, and again quite. There was no music and things like that. Quite quiet, and then they'd be finishing it, and all I'd hear was like Stone Cold wrestling music.
Oh, brilliant! We have time for a few fan questions. We've got a couple of Celtic ones. I'll throw this to Chris first of all. Chris, what are your thoughts on the rumours about Eddie Howe?
It's difficult, do you know what I mean? Like, obviously Neil Lynn's still on the job, so I think Eddie Howe did well, didn't he, during Bournemouth and that. He's a young manager. I think his style of player, I like the way he sets up. He seems organised, a good organiser as well. So, you know, if they went down that road, I don't think it would be a bad appointment. But obviously, you hope that kind of Lenny can turn it around and kick on again. But as we touched on earlier, the league looks as if it's gone.
Yeah. Greg, what do you think about Ryan Kent? Do you think he warrants a drop in the Rangers team? The reason I've asked you that is because I think, and you can agree or disagree, but I think the hardest position in Scottish football is to be a Rangers winger, because everybody gets compared to Brian Laudrup.
David Cooper.
Exactly. What do you kind of think of that? How hard was it, the pressure of being a winger at Rangers? And what do you think of Ryan Kent?
Ryan Kent, I don't know if he's in a winning team, isn't he? They're unbeaten. Would you want to change an unbeaten team and upset the rhythm of the squad of the team? I don't know. It's something that the manager always say. He'll make the decision. He's the manager at the end of the day. But for me, I wouldn't drop him. It's just he's in a a routine of a team who are going for a wee big success in it. So I wouldn't drop him. And for your other question, it's hard to put as a winger because the demands of playing for Rangers or Celtic and never playing in any position, they expect a lot of you.
Mm-hmm. There's another question here as well. What do you think the difference in mentality is between the team you played for in 2011 that won the title under Walter Smith and the difference in the current Rangers team? What do you think? Do you think there is a difference in, obviously this Rangers team's going for a title? Do you see the similarities between both teams?
Yeah, I do a wee bit, yeah. I just think they've got that mentality of, going and winning every game. As well, I think the same as us. I think we only conceded 13, 14 goals that season as well. And Rangers have only conceded 6 up to now. So, was it 7 because obviously Murray scored a day? But
yeah,
I think it's just the same. But it's a good question, aye.
Brilliant. Final question to everybody. I'll give this to all three of you. I'll start with Chris. Who is the best player you've played with or played against in the Scottish League? I'll give this to all three of you, but I'll start with Chris.
The best I've played with, coming through, for me, Sean Maloney was a standout. Do you know what I mean? Right from day one, I was like, he's going to play Celtic's first team. Brilliant player, so clever, so good, man. Honestly, he's probably up there with one of the best I've played with coming through. Playing against, I always say Steve Davis. I think he's a brilliant player. He's my type of player, similar to the position I play and how I try to play. Keeps everything nice and simple, keeps everything ticking over, sets the tempo of the game, and it's no coincidence that he's still playing at the level that he is. Brilliant professional. I always remember one of the games we played against Rangers, and the first year we came up in semi-final at Hampden, we got beat 2-0. And I was playing up against them, and I had a right good game, to be fair. And I thought we were a better team. We ended up losing it 2-0. We probably didn't deserve to lose the game, but just after that game, I thought he's a good player. He's a right good player, so I'd have to say him.
Yeah. Remember Sean Maloney's goal against Rangers at Parkhead? I think it was Maloney.
Yeah, it was, yeah.
That was a screamer, that goal.
Mm-hmm. And I think he had a great career in that, but he did pick up injuries, and I think that kind of, if he could have stayed injury free, and I think he would have wanted a better career. But no, definitely class player.
Definitely. Greg, who would you say is the best player you've played with and played against in the Scottish League?
There's been a couple of players that I've played with in the Scottish Premier League that I thought were good. Obviously, Davis, Jelvich, but Kenny McLean, who I was with at St Mirren.
Right.
He was his technique was frightening. But I think tops it all probably Stephen Davis. The guy's a genius. With a ball at his feet, it's just ridiculous. I think he's got eyes at the back of his head, to be honest. He sees things that I don't even see. You know what I mean? Hardest player I played against, it's probably been Wanyama, because he was playing at the time when Brown was playing. He had him on the right hand side of the park. Yeah, I don't know why he ended up switching, and it's just an absolute unit. It's like going through a brick wall, man. Sometimes.
Shankers, who you got?
I'm embarrassed to ask this because answer this because of the players that they're doing. When I was at Ayr, probably Michael Moffat, see, just because where he came from, I played with Girvan Juniors, my brother, and then he eventually scored. I think he scored his 100th goal for Ayr not long ago, and he went a wee shot at Dunfermline away, and he's come back. He's just to stay at that level, a lot of players maybe take the jump up for a couple of years and then they're back down. But for him to stay there and maintain, I think he's Ayer's best player. Moffat is so unselfish. See the running and work rate that he does is brilliant. I'm surprised he never went even further on than there, like Ayr to a team like that in the SPL. He could probably have done a job with them. Michael Moffat's probably the kind of best I've played with at Ayr anyway. Played against. When I was at Ayr, Rangers were in their division. Lewis McLeod, I don't know where he's ended up now. He he was a good player. He was young and he was coming through, and that Rangers team probably one of the better
He's at
players in
Plymouth
that
now.
team.
Is it
Plymouth, is that
I knew
where
he
he
was
is?
at Brentford. He got a bad injury at Brentford, didn't
He'd
Like
high
his
hopes
ACL
for-
or something.
Yeah.
for him.
Mhm.
He's probably one of them. I'm trying to remember. Apart from that'd be about it. I think Curry really melted. We played against, when we were here, we played a pre-season game against Man United, and Pogba was playing that game. Had a wee 15-minute cameo that game. He was playing.
Intimidating.
He's obviously kind of done no bad for himself now.
Was he intimidating?
I can't really remember when you're young in that. It's, you know that you don't care, but you just kind of play dead freely in that. You don't really think about anything like that. You're just, it's no like arrogance or anything. You just go out and play every game like a normal game with your pals kind of thing. There's a lot of good players played in that Man United game. Lingard and Ravel Morrison. He's probably one of the better
really
players
good as well.
And he's just no kind of hit the heights that was expected of him. Probably his own fault with attitude and stuff like that.
Yeah, definitely. Well, that'll do us for this week's episode of the Scottish Football Show. I just want to say to Greg and Chris, it's been an absolute pleasure to be on the show. It's been really enjoyable. Thanks very much for coming on.
That's fine. Cheers. Thank you.
Perfect. And Shank, it's a pleasure as always.
Pleasure's mine.
Thanks very much. We'll be back. We'll be back next week with another new episode. But thanks very much to the boys, and we will see you next week. Cheers.